high in the frozen peaks of the Ural Mountains. A group of young hikers pitch their tent in the middle of a snowstorm. That night, nothing will go as planned. By dawn, in -30 degrees, the 9 hikers tear open their tent from the inside and flee. Half-dressed, barefoot, into the blizzard. None of them ever return. Months later, rescue teams find their tent, stepping into what looks like a frozen nightmare. The tent was ripped open, yet everything inside, boots, clothes, even food, remained untouched. But the people were gone. And so began the Dyatlov Pass Incident, the most mysterious tragedy in Soviet history. Igor Dyatlov, 23 years old, an engineering student, a passionate leader. His team consisted of 9 friends: Zina, Lyudmila, Rustem, Yuri, Alexander, Nikolai, Semyon, and another Yuri. All young, skilled, and well-trained. Their goal was simple: to reach Mount Otorten. On January 25, 1959, they boarded a train. Their final stop, a small village called Vijay. The journey was filled with laughter, songs, and photographs. In their last photos, every face was smiling. No one knew those smiles would soon be frozen beneath the snow. Dyatlov lost his route as the weather worsened. They were meant to camp by the forest. But instead, they stopped on an open slope. One member, Yuri Yudin, injured his foot and stayed behind. He would become the sole survivor. On January 31st, the last notes were written, the final photos taken. On the night of February 1st, the storm began. And from that moment, they were never heard from again. They were due back by February 12th. When no message came, friends and volunteers began to search. On February 26th, searchers found the tent. It had been ripped open from the inside, as if someone was trying to escape. Everything, shoes, gear, passports, still inside. But the footprints outside were barefoot. The tracks led toward the forest and vanished about 500 meters later. There, beneath a cedar tree, they found the first 2 bodies, Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko, wearing only their underwear beside a half-burned campfire. Branches above were snapped, as if they had climbed to look for something or someone. Between the camp and the tree, 3 more bodies were found: Dyatlov, Zina, and Rustem, all facing the direction of their tent and as if trying to return. Frozen between the camp and the forest, their hands clawing the snow, they had fought to live. But 4 were still missing. 2 months later, when the snow melted, they were found in a ravine. They were dressed more warmly, but in far worse condition. Dubinina's tongue was missing, her eyes gouged out, ribs and skulls crushed, and traces of high radiation were found on their clothing. What happened that night? Why did they tear through their own tent and run into the freezing dark? The Soviet report closed with one phrase: an unknown compelling force. But for more than 60 years, countless theories have emerged. An avalanche, but there was no sign of one. A secret military experiment. Missile tests were held nearby. UFOs, orange lights were seen in the sky that same night. Infrasound, frequencies that could cause panic and hallucination. Some even believed something non-human was there. But none could answer every question. Because the torn tent, barefoot flight, broken bones, and radiation could not fit into one explanation. In the recovered journals, the final lines read, "The wind is strong, but violet lights are dancing across the sky." Their last photographs, a glowing orange orb in the darkness. Then the film ends. All that remains A torn tent, frozen bodies, and a mystery even time is afraid to solve. The Dyatlov Pass remains silent. Each gust of wind tries to bury the traces of that night beneath the snow. But that mountain still hides something. Perhaps something we were never meant to know. Some secrets remain buried long after the snow has melted.